Colin says, shouldn't visualization be clear and detailed to be able to explain those visual memories? Great question. I like what you're thinking. No, I mean, one of the things you want to think about is just how much ambiguity can you stand in order to reach a goal? How much pleasure in experiment do you think you have the tolerance for? Experimentation, I mean to say. How much joy do you have the tolerance to accept and invite into your life to play around with this until you make a breakthrough? Let me know in the chat, because this is really, really important. Colin is asking a great question. Shouldn't visualization be clear and detailed to be able to examine your visual memory? Well, who says that it should be? What does clear mean? Whose definition of clear are we talking about? Here's something interesting that came up yesterday and over a couple of days. Someone emailed me and said, could you please give me a brief description of what the magnetic memory method is all about? And I emailed him back and I said, no, I'm afraid I can't. And I said, if you're willing, ready, and able to have a full and thorough description, we help people who are ready for reality, which is that there is no brevity. We're in this for life. We're going to spend the rest of our lives devoted to memory, because what's the point of improving it for tomorrow? We should be improving it for the rest of our lives. So we're going to stick with it, and there's no brief description. There's just the path. And if you want to get on the path, which I suggest you do now, then the question is just how much tolerance for pleasure do you have? Because we are going to spend our lives completely immersed in the most extraordinary and explosive amounts of pleasure, because we show up consistently day after day after day in order to achieve bliss right now. We're not always focused on the outcomes. We have to let go of the outcomes in order to have anything. You have to let it go in order to have it all, because you can have it all as long as you're not all wrapped up in all this sort of stuff. So let me know, just how much pleasure can you withstand? Let me know in the chat. Are you a person who has a high tolerance for pleasure? I'm very, very curious about this. And who defines clear imagery? Really, really interested in this because I want to know what you mean by clear imagery. Look, I applied these things to biblical Hebrew. I applied these things to everything for my PhD. Well, not every little last thing, but massive amounts of focus and concentration on my PhD. I did it with German. I've done it with Sanskrit. I've done it with Chinese. I've done it with all kinds of things over the years. Done it with a deck of cards, right? I had that breakthrough just sitting there with cards. It never needed to be clear. So whoever said that the images have to be clear, and what does that mean? And why are you making it important? I think a lot of people just haven't followed the instructions. They haven't quite understood what memory techniques are really about. We'll get into this. We'll get into this today. I've got 15 exercises for you. So if you're just joining with us, hit the thumbs up. Let me know where you are in the world, what you're doing, what you're thinking, how things are going, and what's the problem with your visual memory? What's going on? Describe it in detail. The more you get involved with your descriptions, the more you're going to get out of these sessions.